Welcome to the first Senior Bitches podcast of 2024, where we celebrate glorious women over 55 who are sparkling and shimmering in the universe, crushing it on their own terms, unapologetically daring to age. What a concept. Hi, everyone. I'm so excited about the inaugural show of 2024 of Senior Bitches. So for 2024, I have a whole new set of priorities, and the top of my list, and my guest will love to hear this, is shifting my thinking. Because 2023 was such a clusterfuck for all of us. It was so challenging. It was so horrible. So what I did as the year got worse and worse, oh God, they're coming to take me away. Okay, there you go. Seriously, they're stopping right outside my door. Oh, no, they went on. Total clusterfuck 2023. So what I did when all this was happening is I made a really smart decision to go against the flow of life. I went into full resistance mode. I mean, super sexy, right? I'm just going to continue to try and control everything. I mean, so far it hasn't worked, but why on earth change midstream or end stream? Because I'm old. I'm just going to continue my shitty habits. But after 60 years of maybe not killing it in quite a few areas of my life, I decided to change my mantra of how I was going to be doing business. I started a very simple manifesting practice where I got really clear in my intentions and accountability. Before it was super general, like I just want to be happy and flood it with abundance and get a really cute boyfriend, and maybe I'll win the lottery. I don't know, maybe. But, and I want to emphasize this, I had no plan and no vision. So I started writing this shit down, very clear on my intent, my accountability, and my desired outcome. Now, for a control freak like me, what I started to do was just be open to the journey. I was going to zig and zag. I was going to go with it. I knew the feeling I wanted at the end, but I stopped holding on so much to the outcome. So here I am. I know this isn't opus, but I'm getting here. So as I'm awakening to all of this on New Year's Day, I'm scouring Instagram. I use it as my vision board, for people, design, food, things that excite me. And I'm sort of cyber stalking a friend. Well, not sort of, it's a full-on stalk. And I see they're following the coolest people in the world. And I'm like, why aren't I following these people? And then all of a sudden, out of nowhere, this fabulous woman pops up. And I'm like drawn to this person, her energy, her mantra. And I'm like, I gotta follow this biatch. She is speaking my language. So the next morning, I wake up after my first vodka, just kidding, but not really. And as the kids say, somebody has slid up into my DMs, and it's this woman, and she has thousands and thousands and thousands of followers, but she reached out to me and said, you resonate with me, and I am trying to put together this community of women and figure out our content and have these discussions, and I'd love you to be a part of this community. So how badass is that the second I stopped resisting the current, she shows up at my door. So like energy attracts like energy. And here we are. And she's my first guest of 2024. She's successful. I'm going to list it. Drop dead gorgeous, complicated, nuanced, driven. I'm running out of fingers, vulnerable, and steely. She's been featured in every magazine imaginable and television show. Her clients go from The Rock to the Kardashians and everything in between. And on paper, her life looks really perfect. But here's a direct quote from her that attracted me to her energy and motivated me to talk to her today. This is what she said. My noteworthy fitness career boasts media appearances and features, yet these accolades hold little value when external success contrasts with inner discontent. Okay, I see this every day. I live in LA. These beautiful, successful people, you've never met more miserable people in your life because they're not aligned at all. Because it's an inside job. I just figured that out at 60. So double amen to this woman. And it's my absolute pleasure to welcome this force of nature to Senior Bitches, my inaugural guest for 2024. Please welcome Rebecca Kordecki. I know it was long, but I had to get it in.
Fuck. It was long, but it was perfect. Thank you.
Okay,
I love
good.
every single thing you said.
Okay,
I love
good.
especially if I can tag on to what you said about you started to go for the feelings not necessarily the thing. And it's funny because I just did a masterclass 2 nights ago called Magnetic Manifesting. And this year I threw out the whole idea of vision boarding, pictures and things and all the shit we want to accomplish and achieve. And instead, all my clients are doing feelings boards. What does the thing equal? As soon as we
Right.
look at the thing and we go, oh, I want that car because it'll make me feel badass, or it'll make me feel successful, or it'll make me feel free, whatever the fuck it is. So from now on, my clients don't do vision boards. We do feeling boards. So when you said that, I'm like, ah, she is my people.
That is so
Yeah,
interesting because there's this
yeah,
concept that if I look perfect and if I'm
yeah,
perfect and I've got the perfect house and the perfect car, that I'm going to be perfect. But I actually think it can create the worst form of hell because if
yeah,
everybody on the external thinks you're
yeah,
doing okay and inside you have this battle going on,
mm,
it's hell. It's hell on earth. And a
yeah.
lot of people are in that state, don't you find?
Absolutely. I mean, that is why I shifted from when I was in the fitness field for gosh, 20 plus years. And I worked with these A-list celebrities and badasses and professional athletes, big shot people. But I still found that no matter how accomplished they were, successful they were still dealing with their demons and battling it, self-doubt and perfectionism and imposter syndrome, even some of them, or the aging. I worked with a lot of iconic celebrities that as they were aging, they were losing themselves because the new up and comer, sexy 40-year-old, and this woman is now 60 or 70 and she's losing it. And every day she would be crying in her closet. And so I just feel like, you know, what you have on the outside does not, like you said, reflect what's going on the inside. So all of that finally led me to say, I really want to work instead of from the outside in, which was how I was doing fitness, helping people get badass bodies, six pack abs. But if your heart's sad inside, what good does that do, right? So I said, I need to find a way to work from the inside out. Then, if we have a badass body, but we got an eight pack in our heart too, boom, that's like
Oh,
magic.
oh, oh,
Yeah,
eight pack in your heart. I am
yeah,
using that
yeah,
expression.
yeah,
I love
yeah.
that.
And here's
That's
actually how I
brilliant.
thank you. I actually say six pack heart. Today I said eight pack heart because I'm like I'm elevating, I'm up leveling for 2024. But literally I use a hashtag six pack heart because I used to say I have six pack abs, and for years I had to because I was a fitness model and billboard for my business. So I did. I had six pack abs. Then I discovered breath work and mindset coaching and all these things. And I said, fuck that. I don't care about those abs anymore. I want a six pack in my heart. And
Yeah.
that's when I started doing the deeper work. And when I did that, that's boom. Now I got a six
That,
pack heart, two pack abs,
that's when
which
you
is
go up.
okay.
That's when you go. Well, it adds up to eight packs, so I'm going to take it.
Yeah,
So
there you
I
go.
wanted to start from here, and this is a quote from you, which so I thought we dive from here.
Yeah,
You say, if you had have met me 30 years ago, you would not even recognize me. So
yeah,
it's a two-parter, Rebecca.
yeah.
How do you feel about that girl woman you were 30 years ago? And where was she coming from? Where were you coming from? Because your life has been wild. They need to do a
Mm.
movie. It is, you've been everywhere.
I've been
So,
everywhere. Yeah, there's
so
been a
who was
lot.
that woman 30 years ago?
So, well, 30 years ago, probably even more than 30. I think 26 was the year that I finally got off of, I was addicted to cocaine.
And
And
by the
so
way, can I just say that your mother turned you on to the drug?
yes, yeah. How did you know that?
Thanks,
Did
Mom.
you
I
did
do
you
my research, biatch. I do
holy
my
shit.
research. I dive
Yeah.
deep. I dive
Wow. And
deep.
it's 11:11 on January 11th when you say, or 1:11 on January 11th, looking at my clock. Holy shit, all the ones. Okay.
Yeah,
And yes, that is true. And it's also very sad, right? Like that. And it could be sad and maybe not, because some people might go, well, your mom was thinking if you're going to do drugs, you might as well do it with her where she's watching you. That would have been cool if she kept watching me after I
right.
got addicted to them, but she didn't, and she didn't know my journey. And I ended up going down a rabbit hole, and I didn't do it right after that first line of cocaine that she allowed me to do in her presence with a guy that she met. But I got addicted 2 years later. So, still, when I think back on it, I'm like, basically, my mom said, it's okay. Like, go ahead and try it and go ahead and do it. That said, I'm still an adult. And it's my responsibility when I got addicted to pull myself out of that. And I finally did after 6, 7 years of a really, really bad dance with that drug that almost took my life. I was literally, I remember it as being, and that the 4 Bs or the 3 Bs, I was bloody, barefoot, and broke, walking down Lankershim Boulevard in North Hollywood. And this was how long ago it was. There was payphones, so I called my dad, Collect, the man who adopted me when I was 12, and I said, I am gonna die if you don't help me. And here's what's he didn't had no clue that I was on
Right.
cocaine. And I said, please help me. And he said, get your ass to the airport. There'll be a ticket waiting in the morning. So, that was the beginning of my journey. And that dance, took me to my knees, like I said. But when I was around 30, yeah, 31, I met a life coach who, after getting sober off the drug, I realized, okay, all the things I was numbing from cocaine was like lack of self-worth, not understanding all the trauma and dysfunctional childhood I grew up in, having that type of mom that I had. And I was sad inside. I was confused, but my career was doing great. I was on the cover of Muscle and Fitness. I had a national commercial for Gate. I had all these cool things happening, but I was a mess inside. So, like we were talking about originally in the beginning, like, doesn't matter what's on the outside. What matters is how you're feeling here. And I met this life coach, and she changed my life. Like, she just allowed me, she didn't do it for me. I did the work, but she showed me the way to finding myself again and to understanding all that stuff and to release it from my body. And that was the beginning of shifting and changing.
Right. So how you take it, I get the vibe that you're a very strong, willful person. So how hard was it for you to ask help and make that phone call? I have such a
Ooh,
visual of what was a
ooh.
bloody, barefoot, and broke on Lankershim and North Hollywood. That's all
And
you need to
that
say.
street. Yeah,
That
that street.
you don't even want to be there today with shoes
No,
and money. I'm telling you right now, like you do not want to be. So that vision and on a
no.
pain phone. So what was, I mean, for my daughter's adopted, so I'd like to talk to you a bit more about that. But was that so hard for you to make that call?
I was at a point, honestly, where that night, it was the sweet spot of, like, they say that phrase when you hit your bottom, right, with whatever an addiction that you have is. And that was the night I hit my bottom, where I was like, if I don't get help, I will die. I'll die.
Yeah,
I don't
yeah.
know how to stop, and I don't know how to get out of this moment. And it was not hard at all, quite honestly, because I was at that point. I think when you hit that point where that's your only option, that phone call was really easy. I'm like, I'm calling Collect because I had no money. And I
Yeah,
dialed Collect and I said, Dad, please bring me home. So,
and he did.
and he did. And I'm so grateful to, like I said, the man who adopted me when I was 12. He gave me a semblance of what having one sort of healthy parent could look like, because before that I was in and out of foster care. And as you know, I've talked about my mom before, and no fault of her own, but she had some dysfunctions. So, we were taken away by the state because she was unfit, technically, to take care of us. So, my brother and I. And yeah, so I can go on and on about that, but I'll let you ask a question.
Yeah, no, it's just incredible. It's part of your trajectory and your story. And so I guess, okay, so I was going to ask you another question, but I'm thinking
Yeah.
this question now. I think that what I said at the beginning, because I'm having a shift too. I didn't have as dramatic a situation as you had with the 3 Bs in North Hollywood. I
Yeah.
found
Thank God.
2000, yeah, I found 2023 really did that to me. And what I did is I went into full resistance mode. As I said, I'm like, I'm just backing out of here. I don't want to engage. I'm going to protect myself. I'm not going to let stuff flow through me, like the life force flow through me. And I thought that that would save me,
Right.
and obviously you've had a lot of trauma in your life. And I would imagine part of that, to deal with that is shutting down and compartmentalizing all that stuff. So
Mm.
what forces, because of where you're at now in your life, led you to be able to let go of that resistance and to trust the life force to move through you after
Mm.
having such a complicated childhood, and
Yeah.
as a woman, we have a complicated life, especially in this town. It's
Yeah,
insane.
it's crazy, crazy.
So where did you find the wherewithal to be able to shift that perspective?
It's funny. I remember when I was right after I was in my years of no longer doing the drugs. I started running. It's almost like I did switch an addiction, right, from cocaine to running. And I just found it to be moving therapy for me. So I started running and training for a marathon. And I remember when I first got back to LA, because I went home to be with my dad and they lived in Wisconsin. That's where I got into a detox and in rehab. And so when I moved back to LA at 27 and a half, I started preparing for the LA Marathon and I would run every day. And I remember running and I had this mantra that I still have to this day. I'm pointing over there because I think it's a painting I have on the floor where it says, I can, I will, I am. And those 6 words were the words that I used to run barefoot in the sand, and I still do to this day. But I would run every day, Santa Monica Beach. I can, I will, I am. I can, I will, I am. And I would just say that mantra over and over and over, almost like a prayer, a moving mantra,
Yeah.
a succumbing to whatever resistance I felt. And those 6 words, honestly, were the beginning
Wow.
of saving me. And then I found
I'm
the light.
writing them down. What are they? I
Yeah, I
am?
can, I can, I
Uh-huh.
will, I am. So I can is like first I acknowledge I can do it.
Yeah.
But then I
Yeah.
will is okay, I'm going after this. And then the I am
Action.
is I am assuming it. It is I. It is you are that, right? So I am is more of an assumptive, all encompassing. So I say it in that order on purpose. I can, I will, I am. And for me, it just stuck. And and I can't believe that I remembered it 30 something years later. And I still say it, I still use it with clients. So that was one thing that I did. I just started leaning into pumping myself up and I don't mean in a woo-woo way, but like in a
Yeah.
way it landed for me. Sometimes the other affirmations I would hear, I felt they were kind of woo-woo and a little bit cheesy. And as you can see, I have a little bit of an edge. I'm a little gritty. And I never really resonated with some of the more
Yeah.
ethereal type people that would present affirmations and all that stuff. So I created my own stuff.
I like that because I'm going to do it. I'm doing it. Oh, here I am. I love that. It's
Yes.
simple.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
you have worked with so many uber successful women. Like like if you want to name some, I think you should
Yeah.
because I think your
Yeah.
list is really impressive. If you could name some,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
what
Awesome.
generally is the biggest challenge for us generally? So give us a few names, and then what I'm sure
Yeah.
that there's like something that runs through all of it that's
A through
similar.
line. Yeah. So, I mean, Raquel Welch was a
Oh
client.
God, I
Rest in
love
peace.
her.
Rest in peace. She was a client for 10 years. I adored her. We had a very interesting relationship because she reminded me very much of my mom, not only in looks, but in kind of energy and some of the struggles that I felt she had with her daughter because she has Tawny as her daughter. And I trained her for on and off for 10 years. And when I moved away to New York for a while and she'd try and hire a new trainer and then she'd be getting ready for a movie and she'd go, Rebecca, I need you, come back to LA. So I'd come for a month and work with her. And so Raquel was a client. Hunter Tylo, I don't know if you know her from The Bold and the Beautiful. She's an older actress, a gorgeous, adorable woman. Who else would be someone that we might know the name? Well, Khloe Kardashian, but not for training. She was a massage client. I was also a licensed masseuse for many years. But one of the things that I think is just, dealing with, like I said earlier, the aging thing and struggling to keep up and struggling to understand what it means to be a woman who's aging and stay relevant and be able to get the roles, do the jobs, stay in the limelight without having to sell your soul to do it and still feel good about who you are as you age. And I think, you know, I hate to say it, but Raquel did deal with that, a lot. And I would see her struggle with it, and we would have conversations about it. But she was complicated and beautiful at the same time. So it was an interesting relationship. Yeah.
Yeah, well, it's a dance we all do. I mean, especially beautiful women
Yeah.
and that currency, God, they make it, society and men, I guess, and even women make it diminish so quickly, like in your 30s.
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
now we're
Yeah.
getting way more bandwidth around
Yeah.
it, which is
Yeah.
great. So, but how important, because you're a public person with a public platform, how important do you think it is that we talk about our age and say our number? I'll
Yeah.
tell you what's really hilarious, Rebecca, is I
Yeah.
do this podcast, and every
Yeah.
time I say my age, and Mike
Yeah.
will attest to this, my fabulous producer, I can barely cough out my age. And then I'm like, wait, I'm doing a podcast on accepting my age. I'm
Right.
61,
Yes,
right?
and you look
Like,
gorgeous, by the way.
well,
Gorgeous,
thank you.
queen.
Thank you. Did you hear that, Mike?
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah,
I'm hot.
really. You're hot.
Um,
You're
but even for me to say 61, and this is my whole, trajectory is
yeah,
to accept it. And the
yeah,
number freaks me out a little. I'm getting better. Are
yeah,
you comfortable saying your age? I mean, you're
yeah.
a total babe.
Thank you.
I couldn't even guess your age.
Thank you. But yes, I'll speak directly to this. 4 years. In fact, I just did a live about this the other day where I said for years I hid my age, obviously in the industry. I was a commercial actress, on camera host for a while and pursuing that heavily. And so I would get jobs and I was always afraid if I wrote my real age on the submissions that I wouldn't get cast. And so I got in the habit from my early 30s of hiding my age even then. Like I would downplay it. If I was 35, I said I was 28. And I was in the age range of 25 to 35, and I was really 35 to 40 or whatever it was. So I got in the habit of it, and it felt like, oh, well, this is what everybody's doing. It's okay. And then as I got older and more recently, I started to say to myself, well, guess what? If I don't get that job, that's not a job for me because I wasn't fit for it. And I started to release the attachment of, I need those jobs, I need those, and I just let go of it. And I thought, whatever job is meant to come will come. So I got a little better at it, but I still wasn't speaking my age. I just didn't lie about it. I just didn't say it out. Now, as I turned 60 2 weeks ago,
Oh my God.
yeah,
What?
I turned 60 2 weeks ago.
Wow. Well, good for
So
you. Good for
thank
you.
you. Thank you. And
Amazing.
I have made peace with it all the way to where now I wear it as a badge of honor because I feel like if I can, in fact, I probably need to get a tattoo. I just hitting that right there is just kind of reminding me I might need a tattoo of something. But I feel like if I can inspire other people that just because we hit a certain number, that doesn't mean we can't jump rope with a weight vest on, that we can't do battle ropes, that we can't climb and hike and love hard and love big and recreate. I've reinvented myself 5 times in the last 8 years, 10 years, I don't know. And I keep doing that. And I don't let age limit me. If I want to learn something new or expand into a new business, I just do it.
Yeah.
And I want to inspire other women to stop. And also, I have a Facebook group called Strong, Sexy, and Soulful. And when I was pitching that name, this is interesting. I was kind of doing a poll with some women about that name for a group for women over 40. What do you think of Strong, Sexy, and Soulful? And I had some women comment, well, I don't think of myself as sexy at 50. I don't think I would never use that name for a group. And I just thought to myself, wow, that's the exact name I'm going to use because I want to attract the women who want to embrace their sexy over 50 or over 40 or even over 60 or 70.
Yeah. Yeah. I
So,
mean, why not? I mean, it's such an interesting discussion because hitting my 60s,
yeah,
um, arriving at the destination, it takes a minute. It
yeah,
takes
it
a
does.
minute,
It does. I'm still
but
getting comfortable saying it, but I'm going to embrace it. I really am. And yeah,
well, it's interesting because I've interviewed like a lot of women from around the world, like London, Dubai, Canada, Paris.
yeah.
And it's really interesting because it's split right down the center, right? So, and
Hmm.
I learned so much from these women about aging, but as far as our appearance and beauty, some
Yeah.
are full disclosure. Like my lady from Dubai is bananas. She was like, "Oh, I had a brow lift, I had a lower lift,
Yeah.
I've done
Yeah.
everything. I
Yeah.
would, put something, up my vagina. I'll give it to me. I'm gonna do it." Just, and
Yeah.
she was very forthright about it. And she's like,
Yeah.
"I want to be thin and I am
Yeah.
going to eat this way and exercise my ass off. And that's what I want to do." And then the
Yeah.
other 50%, if I ask, they're like,
Yeah.
they won't say.
Yeah.
And I respect both. I
Yeah.
think whatever you want to do, knock yourself out. Like whatever you
That's
want
right.
to
That's
feel
right.
good on
Yeah.
the outside, like because, but I think health and exercising and all that stuff is super important. Um, but it's an interesting discussion because full disclosure is kind of nice for women when they look at
Yeah.
somebody and they're like,
Yeah.
"What are you doing?
Yeah.
Like, can you share that?" Like,
I'm gonna share
okay,
mine. May I?
okay, good.
Because
Oh,
may
yes.
I?
I wish
Yeah.
I
Because
had. Okay, I wish I had
yeah,
vodka. This is water, but let's go.
yeah, I'm gonna have a sip of water because hydration is one of my things.
Let's
I drink
hydrate.
lots and lots of water.
Me too.
Mm,
I'm doing dry January. or
Are
else I
you?
would have
Yeah.
had some
Okay.
vodka there, but
Awesome.
go on.
Yeah,
Okay.
you're so cute.
Yeah.
But so, okay, so everyone always says, "What's your skincare? What's your?" First of all, good lighting, good filters. That's the first thing. I'm not gonna lie. I have a great light on. I have a
Yeah.
filter on my Zoom. I have wrinkles and lines, but I do Botox. I do lip filler, and that is it. I've never had a facelift. I've never done my cheeks. I've never done a neck job, which is why I have these necklines. And people go, "What's wrong with her neck?" And my videos are, this is muscle. It's
Yeah.
muscle, but I could
Yeah.
fix that if I wanted, but I'm not.
Yeah.
I've never pulled anything. People go, "She must have had a facelift." No, I've not done my eyes yet. I might. I
Yeah.
might. In another year or 2 or 3, I probably will, because
Yeah.
I do want to keep presenting the best self that I can be. But the most important thing I do is I eat clean, I exercise every day, I keep my mind clean and clear and on point, on purpose, I call it. And I don't drink a lot. I do have a drink every now and then. I don't smoke, I don't do drugs, any other kind of bad things for my body. And mostly I just aspire to be the boss of my happy. And I think, that has been the thing. People say, "How do you, what?" It's not any secret. It's just
Yeah.
deciding. I care about how I look. I'm also Italian, so I have good genes. So there's
Yeah.
that. Thanks, mom.
Oh yeah. I
You know,
spent 2 months in Rome last year. My
eh,
dream is to actually buy something in Italy. I'm obsessed with Italy. I
yeah,
love it there. But I do think back to the inside job
yeah,
premise is that when you're happy, I think you glow. And then I think
yeah,
the wrinkles and stuff fall by the wayside. You don't care so much. I mean, I know so many people who have had surgery. I actually went out about a month ago with somebody who's going to help me do something. He's a man,
yeah, yeah,
gay, super fabulous. And I showed him a
yeah.
picture from a couple of years ago. And
Hmm.
then he went, "Oh, okay." And he looked at me and said, "Who did your facelift?" I said, "Pardon?"
Hmm. Yeah,
He said, who did your work? And I said,
yeah,
I haven't. And he said, "Come on. I've had
yeah,
three. I know a facelift when I see one." He
yeah.
said, he's so committed to it. He severed his muscles here so he wouldn't get 11s, right? Like he's
Wow,
committed to it.
wow,
And I said,
wow.
"I haven't, but I'm not opposed to it.
Yeah,
I'm not there, not a face. I don't know. I'm open to it.
yeah,
I'm open to it. And I certainly don't judge anybody
yeah.
who would do it. And I think that it's really powerful to share it with other women. But again, it's a personal choice. If you don't want to share it, then don't share it, you know?
Right. One thing, yeah, and tagging on to that, one thing I find sort of, I don't know, I don't know that I love this comment that I sometimes get where women will say to me, "You should not use a filter, you should not wear so much makeup, you should not dress this way, you should be more casual, show yourself raw and naked." And I'm like, okay, if that's your choice, if that's your
Yeah.
truth, and that's how you want to present on your platforms or in the world. Like when I go out, this is me. This is how I dress. I wear makeup, I wear a hat, I have a little flair. This is how I would dress. So why wouldn't I show up on my Instagram in the same way? And I present fully, like wherever I go. There's times when I'm in a ponytail or my hair up or a baseball cap, and sometimes I show up on camera like that. But to be told that if I'm trying to empower women, I must show myself wrinkles and no makeup and all of that, I don't know that I agree with that. I feel like to each their own. If I want to
Well,
be my
plus,
best self,
yeah, yeah. Plus, if you showed up with wrinkles, then the biatches would be all over you for looking old and promoting a healthy lifestyle. And, like you,
100%.
so you
Yeah.
can't even do it, right. Like I sort of got introduced to the public eye about 20 years ago. And
Yeah.
I did used to read the comments about me. And then I stopped
Yeah.
because
Smart.
I would jump off a roof because the things that people said were so cruel.
Yeah.
And, I feel whatever you want to do, like, why can't people, why? And of course, other women are the hardest critics going. Why can't you
Yeah.
just be supportive of that person and how they're experiencing their age and their life?
Yeah.
It's diversity. Isn't it a great thing? Isn't
It
it
really
good?
is. Yeah. It's so good.
I
And
think it's,
by the way, there are a lot of influencers. There's a midlife muse. If you don't know who she is, follow her. She's 50 something. She might even be, I don't know, but she wears no makeup. Sometimes it looks like no makeup, and she promotes gray hair and all of that.
I've
And she's
seen her.
wonderful.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
She's
yeah.
beautiful, wonderful. Go, if that's what you need and want, then follow that woman. But I think we all get to express ourselves in whatever way is aligned and authentic for who we are and what we represent. So,
Yeah, yeah. And being full disclosure on the aging, I think is really important and to help other women. So this is a big question because
Yeah.
the last 2 or 3 years, I've been on a dating spree. I don't think
Oh,
anybody
good.
dated more than I did during COVID. I was like the COVID
You got
dater.
to date during COVID? I didn't date
Oh,
during COVID.
oh,
That's
I
so cute.
did. And like,
You did.
and
It's so
and
cute.
one of my first dates out of COVID was this Italian architect. I wonder if he's listening, who used to make me homemade pasta. But the first date, I mean, we were safe. Like we went, he did a picnic, beautiful picnic, and we went to the beach, and he had like
Sweet.
rosé and sushi, and
Mm.
like his picnic packet was so perfect. When I opened it up, I thought, is he gay? Like
I
this
know. I was
is
gonna say, man, you sure he was straight?
yeah, this was so metro. And he said, fuck off, I'm not. So, but
I
anyway,
love it.
so I've been just on this spree, I have to
Yeah.
say. And then my
Yeah.
spree ended in the summer and I'm taking a big break. So how important is it for you to have a man in your life, or a
Mm.
romantic, well, man in your
Mm.
life and in
Mm.
your life presently? And is that something
Yeah.
that you aspire to, that you really want to be a part of your life? I'm going to take
Yeah.
notes again. I'm going to hang on
Okay.
every word on
Okay.
this one.
And well, we'll see, because now I'm gonna throw a curveball at you. You didn't do all your research.
Oh, I know what you're going to tell me now. Can I guess?
Yeah.
Can I guess?
Go ahead.
You have a girlfriend.
That's right. I'm gay.
Oh, you're
No,
gay.
I'm gay. Yeah. I have been with women, gosh, on and off for,
My
well,
son's gay. Look at me like
okay.
trying to up you. My
Woo!
son's gay.
You're so cute.
He's been really
So
gay for a long time.
you're adorable. No, but I have been, I guess I came called coming out at 16. Now, that said, I still dated men on and off. You could say I was bisexual for many years, where I thought I would be able to connect deeply with a man, but I never did. I did have a couple of boyfriends, and I thought I was straight until I realized I wasn't. And so, yes, so currently I actually do have a girlfriend. I've got someone that I met about 6 months ago almost. And
Did you
I
meet like
finally,
organically, or was it
yes,
online?
actually, no,
Oh,
this
I
one
love
was
this.
organic. Yeah, this is so good. Well, I
Did you
mean,
meet
she's,
cute? Tell us the story. Tell us the
yeah,
story.
okay.
What happened?
So it's a funny story. So my client, one of my life coaching clients, was in LA for we were doing a deep dive. I do immersions with my clients. And so it's where we spend 3 days a weekend. We went to the Ritz-Carlton in Dana Point, and we do a deep dive of like all the stuff you want to work through. And we also became very good friends. So we were having a chat, and we were sitting in between sessions, and she said, do you know this woman who owns this gym in Laguna Beach? And the two women that own that are really badass. And the Brazilian is really kind of someone I think that would be your type. And I was like, oh, yeah, I know who they are. And she's like, well, I think you should reach, because I was single. And she's like, I think you should reach out to the Brazilian one. I really think you guys are going to click. And I'm like,
That's all
I'm
you
not,
have to say is
yeah,
Brazilian. And
yeah,
even I'm reaching out. If I hear Brazilian, I'm
yeah.
reaching out. Yeah.
No, because I have, we all have our judgments. And I was like, Brazilian, she's going to be too party and too, free spirited and dance naked on the beach. And I'm not about that. And so I wasn't all thinking that, actually, about like the Brazilian girl would be good. So I kind of resisted. But then my client was like, no, really, just send her an email, a DM on Facebook, and ask her to maybe do breath work. Because I teach breath work journeys. And so she said, maybe you could do breath work in their fitness studio in Laguna. And I said, well, I actually have thought about connecting with them. Okay, I'm going to reach out. So I reach out. And then the next day I woke up and I'm like, you know what? That feels inauthentic, because I know that on the back end of that, I hope maybe we click. And that feels like my client forced me to do it. So it's inauthentic, and I deleted it. Well, my girl still saw that and reached out to me a day later. And she said, I saw the message you deleted. I would love to get together and talk about working together. So then we started flirting, and then we met in person, and then, yeah, it was all over. So
Oh my God. Congratulations. That's
thank
amazing.
you. Thank you. I mean, we'll see. We're still, we're fairly new, but one thing that I love about our connection is that no matter what we bump up against, because we've had a couple of challenges and we're very different, energies. And um, I take a little more time out to work through things. She's very quick, wants to come and work through it fast. Even though we have different styles, we always come back to the middle ground and find a way to work through it and communicate healthy. We don't raise our voices. We don't talk shit talk. We don't try to hurt each other. We don't disappear. We always come back to the table. and try to move through it no matter what it is. And I see her way, she sees my way, and we go, all right, let's acknowledge we're different. We're just really different, but we flow and we have this great synergy. So let's embrace that. And in fact, today I do this list for her every now and then where I just write her a memo of all the things I love about you. And so today, because I've been sloppy the last 2 months where I haven't sent them regularly, I left her a voice note and I said, hey babe, I know this thing from my coach years ago who said to me, if I don't feed the love dies. So I'm making a commitment to you this morning that from now on, I'm going to really lean back into recommitting to our love. And so expect one of the things I love about you lists coming soon. And I just sent it off to her a few minutes ago. And, it's those things, I think, reminding ourselves that relationships, no matter who you're with,
Yeah.
are going to take some effort and some energy and some leaning in. And yeah, we're just leaning in right now, and it's awesome. So
That's amazing. Well, I think that I study with somebody and she says this, which I think is
yeah,
true.
yeah,
Romantic relationships, two women, two men, man and woman, teach you the most you're ever going to learn from life, right? Like, because
100%.
the deeper you go, the more you go into it. I mean, and
Yeah, yeah,
I'm thinking
yeah.
about all my dating right now, but you have to be at a, I mean, you don't have to be perfect to meet somebody and have it perfectly work out or anything, but you really do have to be in a place where you're semi-healthy or getting there
Yeah,
to dive into it if you're doing it with any conviction, right?
that's
Because
right. Yeah,
if you want to do it, it's an awesome responsibility, but it's the greatest
agree.
learning tool you're going to have.
Yeah,
And
and
to talk about traumatic childhood, it's
yeah,
really going to target every single thing you probably experienced in your childhood, right? Is going to come up in a relationship.
100%. Yeah, 100%. And I'm
So,
sure you've heard the term attachment styles, right?
oh yeah, what are
Yeah.
you?
I'm avoidant.
I'm
Yeah, I'm avoidant,
anxious.
but I'm okay, and I'm avoidant who's learning to be secure, right? So I never like to label myself anything that isn't malleable, right, or flexible. So even though I come out avoidant, that's what I should be based on my upbringing, I'm responsible as the adult I am now of
Yeah,
shifting that and doing
yeah.
everything I can to become secure attachment, right? So I'm working always on that, and I've gotten so much better over the last 10 years at healing a lot of the things that were triggers in relationship or reactions I have and behaviors I would have. And, to your point of like relationships are your best learning, I think all relationships, friendships, family relationships, love relationships are the only way we get to bump up against things and see how we're doing in the world. Like when I'm alone, I fucking rock. When I'm by myself, it's when I finally bump up against somebody and I see whether my coping mechanism works or doesn't work, whether I see whether how I engage is healthy or unhealthy. It's only against another human, right? When we're alone, we think we're the best thing since sliced bread.
Well,
But
right.
it,
And
yeah,
when you're alone, you can be in full resistance mode, right? Because
that's
you
right.
cannot
Yeah.
engage with somebody if you're in resistance mode. So you actually have to sort of take your act on the road
Take
and
it on
uh,
the road. I love that.
and
Yeah.
experience that. So it's because after my last experience, which was really not a good experience, I actually went to a few Al-Anon meetings and stuff to
Mm,
try and understand some of these addictive personalities and
yeah.
where I sort of fell in the spectrum. And it was so knowledgeable. And I had a
Yeah.
friend who had addiction issues her whole life, and she sat me
Mm,
down. I don't have addiction issues,
yeah.
but I've
Yeah.
been surrounded by people who do.
Yeah.
And she sat me down and she went through everything. And I like, oh my God, this stuff coming out of her mouth. Hi, Kelly, you'll be listening to this. She is so smart
Yeah.
and distilled it. And I was like, and we went through the attachment styles. I didn't even know about
Yeah.
them. And I had a
Yeah.
very specific type of man that I go towards. And of course,
Mm,
it's avoidant, makes
yeah.
sense.
Right.
And she explained it to me. And all of a sudden, it was like clarity. I started
Yeah.
getting clearer around it and seeing my
Mm.
patterns and knowing that probably my biggest mission here on earth, aside from being fabulous, is being in a relationship where I actually address issues and grow
Mm,
within that. I'm not
yes.
there, but
Yeah.
good for you.
No.
So is it important for you to have that in your life? Do you want that?
The relationship
Yeah,
that,
yeah.
yeah, like that I'm in right now, you mean? Yeah.
Well, just enjoy, is it something that I mean, a lot of people don't want to be alone. They're going to settle, they're
Oh
going
yeah,
to
yeah.
do whatever they
No.
can, but they just
I
don't want to be alone.
Yeah, no, I took 8 months off of 2023 where I didn't really date at all. I think I dated a guy, actually, one guy,
Ooh,
where I was like, "Holy shit, maybe I'm gonna go back to trying to be with a man." I don't know. I'm crazy, but it was a
is
fluke
he
thing.
single? Can I have his number? Like, where is he?
Yeah, actually, he's actually a really amazing man, but he felt like my brother after a date or two.
Oh,
So I just feel deep connection with women, and for whatever reason. That said, I took most of 2023 off to really focus on my business, my presence, my voice, my messaging, and to just go a little deeper in stuff that I knew I needed to move through from 2022, which was a really rough year for a lot of reasons, a narcissistic relationship that I exited, a business betrayal, feeling kind of lost in the world. I was living in Nashville and wanted to move back to LA and hadn't yet. And so I was feeling, I want to come home, but where do I live? There was a whole lot of things. At any rate, when I met Fernanda, is her name, in August, I said to myself, actually in July, speaking of manifesting, I was writing in my journal, and I'm a big fan of, like, I believe, yes, dream it first, believe your dream is second, third is see it, see what it would look like, see yourself having it, but then feeling it to me is the most important piece. Like you said, feelings in the very
yeah.
beginning, and feeling yourself actually walking down the street with that woman or that man. Feel yourself engaging in conversation. How does it look? How does it sound? What do they say? What do you say? Feel them hugging on you, kissing on you. And that's what I did. So in July, I was writing all these things out and then feeling them and visualizing and doing this thing. And I met her on August 3rd. So literally a week later, when I finally said, I'm ready to meet someone now, I took all this time off, I'm ready. And I feel like I called her in. I don't know. My client called her in for me, but like if she didn't give me that kick, maybe we would have met some other way, but I was
It showed
ready.
up at your door. I believe in it. Like
Yeah.
at the beginning, I said, I'm not sounding woo-woo, but I have very
Yeah.
big ideas, but I'm not
Yeah.
specific. So I
Yeah.
started writing them down. And like,
Yeah.
honestly, where are we? January 11th? Like the
Yeah.
stuff that's coming my way now is like, oh my
Yes.
God,
Yes.
it's really, really powerful. So I believe in it fully because you have to see it. You have
Yeah.
to see it to be able to actualize it. So
Yeah.
I'm all for that. That's good. July, August 3rd, you manifested. So I've loved speaking to you, but I have a few more questions. I could talk to you for hours.
Same.
But I have a few more questions to ask you. Um,
Yeah.
and I ask every woman who does this podcast this question.
Yeah.
What is the beauty in aging for you?
Mm. I think, oh God, that's good. I think what I've recognized is that I feel I've gotten, and it sounds cliche, but I do feel the wisdom of the steps I've walked on this planet stacking up. I feel the steps stacking up and leaving behind this cavern of wisdom in me that I never had when I was 40 or 50 even. And I feel that I have my heart's expanded and in a new way as I got older. My spirit has felt freer as I got older. And I feel just as inspired physically. I don't feel like I've lost my mojo in any way as I've gotten older. I really haven't. In fact, I've gotten more. I'm almost more full of fire and zazz than I ever was. It's crazy.
It's good
So
because
for
we got
me,
the finite timeline, so we got to get it done. And by the way,
yeah.
sex in your 60s, get out, forget about it. It's the
Yeah,
best
I'm not
ever.
hating it. I'm
I'm
not
not
hating it. At
hating
least
it,
the first
yeah,
2 weeks of it.
because you know what you want, you know what you like, and it's like I'm like, okay, this is great. Thank God, this is like I don't know. It feels like a teenager. It's wonderful. So
That too, also that makes me think of one other thing too, is that I'm really crystal clear now on what I don't want and what
yeah,
I'm not willing to accept. Like that saying, when you know what you don't want, you know what you do want, right? So as I got clear over the last 59 years of what I don't accept, what's not okay, like toxic people, bad behavior, um, you know, uncomfortable situations where energy is negative, it's just not accepted, it's not allowed. I'm really clear what I'm allowing into my 60s and 70s and hopefully 80s. So
yeah, because
yeah,
it seeps
crystal clear.
in. It seeps in
Yeah.
for sure. Okay, I love that. Okay, final question, Rebecca.
Yes.
Um, What is your mantra, and has it changed or remained the same?
Mm, well, I mean, I'll spin that question on its head a little bit and see if this is okay. I like to think of what's my primary question, kind of like that's my mantra. Like, and I got this actually. I heard Tony Robbins on a podcast talking about primary questions, and I call it primary primary mantra, primary vision, sort of for the world. And so I say that I believe intrinsically that all people are good. And so when I look at the world like that, then I don't take anything personal. I don't get defensive. I don't think that everyone's out to get me. So if my filter, if you will, is that question, that primary question, that I believe that all people are intrinsically good humans, but then life happens, right? Trauma happens, disappointment, heartbreak. And so if I remember or picture everyone as like that 5-year-old kid that didn't get their needs met, that didn't have a secure attachment, that was abandoned or abused even, unfortunately. And I picture every human who's mean to me or bad to me as that 5-year-old when I look at them, because that's my primary question. Then I see the world differently, right? And it makes dealing with the shit in life easier. And I don't
Well,
get as impacted.
yeah, because you don't take it personally.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
it can flow through you. So that's kind of where we started. Well, I've
Yeah.
loved talking to you today. You are a
Oh,
force.
thank you. Thank you.
If there's anything you want to let our listeners know that you're up to, or if they can find you,
Yeah.
like I love your Instagram.
Yeah.
It's just your
So,
name,
yeah,
right?
Rebecca Kordecki. I've also got a really cool um, free offer if anyone wants to watch this masterclass that I did. It's called Reclaim Your Heart, and it's about toxic relationships and
Oh
how to get
boy.
out of them, how to
I'm gonna
identify them,
attend. I'm gonna
how
sign
to, yeah,
up.
and
I
it's
have
there. It's
to.
already, the replays are there. So just sign up for that. And then it's also how to build a healthy relationship with yourself after you recognize or leave these toxic relationships, because I've had to. I'm estranged from my mom for 15 years. So it's yeah. So Reclaim Your Heart. You can find it on my bio and my Instagram.
Okay, totally
Yeah.
inspirational. It's been absolutely
Thank
lovely
you.
speaking to you. You're such
Thank
a
you so
force. Continue
much.
to do the good work, and we're all supporting you in this community. So
Thank
thank you
you.
so much today for
Thank
stopping by
you.
Seeing Your Bitches. Keep using the filters, your hat, makeup, everything. You look beautiful.
Thank you, sweetheart.
Okay,
Bye. Thanks for
take
having me.
care. Bye.